She simply said no, labeled me a hoe. I said, how you figure? She said, my friends told me so. Oh man, just a great lyric. It is additional thoughts time for Midnight Marauders by A Tribe Called Quest. I currently have the beginning of an illness that's attempting to maraud my body, so I'm a little old man mode, cough mode, tired mode type of thing. But here we are. Just fantastic album. Fantastic album. I was going through comments just now and trying to reply to a couple and hearts on some and stuff. And it was nice because sometimes with these great albums, these excellent albums, it's almost hard to talk about them because, how many different ways can you say it's amazing? It's almost like it's easier to talk about a 7 or a 6.5 or maybe an 8, an album that's got some high points. Maybe it's pretty consistent, but every now and then there's a low point and you kind of, what's going on? It's almost easier to talk about those because there's points of criticism, and then in criticism, it kind of makes the video a little bit more entertaining. In my mind, I feel like it's boring to sit and watch somebody just talk for 8 minutes or however long about how, it's so good, But I was not redeemed or justified, whatever. There's a word. I was comforted when going through the lyrics or the comments and seeing so many people go, absolute classic, masterpiece, one of my favorites of all time, favorite Tribe album. Which, by the way, I like this more than Low End Theory, and I need to go back. I actually didn't go back and listen to Low End Theory. I did listen to De La Soul again because I just wanted to, and it was fun to hear that one again. But in the comments, a lot of people talking about how, I don't really understand why Low End gets all the love when I've always thought Midnight Marauders is better. I love Midnight Marauders. Really, really good. I actually just replied to a comment talking about, the person was describing the album, how much they enjoyed it, and I was saying how this album does so well of staying in its lane, but also maintaining a lot of variety within that lane. So the whole album is very refreshing, from top to bottom. And then I did see a couple of people were like, Bob, how the hell you don't like the keyboard on Keep It Rolling? I got used to it. I'm fine with Keep It Rolling. It's got a heart now. The only song that does not have a heart is track 5, Sucka Person. And the only reason why I like what the song is doing in terms of the thing to consider in the track, but I just don't feel comfortable listening to it. That's it. It's not a bad song. I don't dislike the song, but I do feel uncomfortable listening to it, so I skip over it. But God, man, what an album! And I watched a couple of people sent me a link to Digging the Greats and his breakdown of the album and talking about the album, and it was so fun. It was so fun to watch him get so excited about the samples and how they produced the album and put it together and how they had to make all these subtle changes to the samples that they were using to give the drums more kick and make it sound more gritty and add more power and all this stuff. And it was just really neat watching him get so excited about it because producers or even rappers, if you are a person that does that thing, it's so much easier to appreciate what other artists are doing, especially when they do it well. And it's done so well on Midnight Marauders. It's done so well. Electric Relaxation, I said during the reaction how, okay, it's about girls or whatever, and so maybe my interest wasn't there, but that beat is so good. That subtle guitar strum that drops in, oh, God, it's just, I don't know. It's like just pouring warm honey on the ears. It's just in the blue. Oh, God. So good. It's like soaking your soul in the sound, in Digging the Greats. I think it was in Digging the Greats. I'm assuming it was in there. But anyway, just a little cycle of influence of how, I guess, Dre and NWA influenced Tribe, and then they made Low End Theory, and then Low End Theory influenced Dr. Dre, and he made The Chronic, and then The Chronic influenced Tribe, and they made Midnight. That's a fun little cycle right there. That's pretty cool. especially too when you think, you look back now, like maybe back then, not as big of a deal in the moment, but 30 years later, some of the greats, right? The greats influencing the greats in real time. That's fucking cool. That's really cool. And then two, this album releasing literally on the same day as 36 Chambers. God, man. Oh my God. It just doesn't seem like that should be allowed by the universe, like that would be the basis for a bad sci-fi movie of all of existence is going to be torn apart because these two albums are far too powerful to appear on the same day. Oh, jeez. What else do I have? Oh, thanks for your service. We got it from here, or we'll take it from here. I put that on the list. I didn't realize, I've seen that one mentioned so many times. I didn't realize it was so recent. So I'm very interested in listening to that because I don't plan on going chronologically up to that one. I would kind of like to jump because it would be neat to just hold the idea of, okay, it's 20 something years later or however long since. Maybe I'll do the album before that. I don't know. I kind of want to jump just to see how much do they change but still maintain their sound. Like, is it just refined? Is it still them but modernized? Because that would be neat. What else do I have? I don't have a terrible... Oh, there's one note that says, becoming an old head. I don't know exactly what the term old head means. I think it means you love old hip-hop, 90s, or maybe even a little bit earlier, and you hate everything else. And you're an old head and you're stuck back then or whatever. I don't think old head means that's your favorite, but you also listen to other stuff. I think old head means you only listen to that shit. So I wrote down, kind of in fear of becoming an old head, not because I don't enjoy this newer stuff, and I do enjoy the newer stuff, and I enjoy the experimental shit. I love JPEG Mafia. I really like fucking Death Grips. The Ken Carson album was fun. Playboy Cardi's cool. I like the newer shit. It's cool. But God damn, when people talk about the 90s and it being the golden era of hip hop, and as someone who's slowly working through this massive catalog of music and seeing these kind of phrases tossed around and going, okay, and not really understanding what people are saying, I feel like with this and then put it on De La Soul again, I feel like I'm kind of starting to get it. Like, I understand why old head exists, it's almost this thing of, I think the natural idea for most people is probably, they're just stuck in their ways. That's what they grew up with. They think it's the best, which is pretty consistent. That kind of happens. Every generation has their music, and then the next generation of music comes along and you go, oh, well, that's just terrible. This is terrible music. My music's so much better, right? Like, that's not uncommon to see. But with this whole the whole old head thing and the 90s thing, fucking amazing hip hop. Amazing hip hop. And I found over however many albums I've listened to now, my own preferences, what I enjoy. I would really consider myself, I suppose, at the core, what I enjoy the most. I don't even want to say that. I don't even want to say the most, because I really like Death Grips. I really like JPEG Mafia. But there's just a lot of weight for me in that classic, traditional hip hop sound. Great beats, great rhymes, great flow. To me, that's essentially the core. And that's probably not, that's probably a pretty standard take, honestly. And I'm not trying to say it's a hot take or a cold take or whatever, but just for my own preferences, after having gone through all of this music, that's kind of where I want to be. And that's why when I hear an album, The Patience by Mick Jenkins, or I hear Maps by Billy Woods, I go, this shit's fucking great, because it's essentially today's version of that. Conway the Machine, God Don't Make Mistakes. I love it. I love it. And with Tribe, man, this album, hearing these jazz elements in there, and then having done Common's B album, those jazz, I love that lane. I really do love that lane. Good rap, good subject matter where you're kind of considering things, taking it seriously, but not always so seriously. You know, it's good to fuck around. Tribe does a good job of, I feel like, kind of maintaining that balance of serious things to consider, screwing around. Serious, screwing around, having fun. I mean, music, it's supposed to be about playing. And if I feel like they play. But what was cool was watching that Digging the Greats video where he was talking to one of the producers, I think, and you know, somebody who helped work on the album. Back in the 90s, you know, the equipment that they had, it was hard. They worked hard to make it sound like they were playing the way they're playing. And there's a lot to be said there. You know, I feel like I feel like it's hard enough to play. It's hard enough to make beats that are great. It's hard enough to have rhymes that are, you know, excellent and good flow and good fun. But then when you're also constrained by the ability to create this thing that you have in mind, like, here's my goal, but getting to that goal is very difficult. Lots of effort and challenge in the way. It's hard to maintain the element of play, I feel like. You know, it kind of wears you out. But they did it. Fuck, man, they did it. So every track has a heart, except for track 5. And that's not an indictment on the track itself. That's just my own personal, not really comfortable listening to this. I don't feel like, I don't even want to say it's not appropriate. I just, I don't feel comfortable. Great album. Great album. I mean, in terms of the 90s, yeah, this is probably one of the best for sure that I've heard so far. Really, really considering doing a revisit to Chronic. I've heard the Chronic. I haven't heard it in years, since well before I started the channel. There's songs I'm familiar with. My only concern is I feel like the whole video will just be me going, oh yeah, this one. Oh yeah, this one. I did a revisit video of Cypress Hill Black Sunday, and that was, I mean, that was so much fun. That was really a lot of fun. But I think more so that was fun just because that was an album I was listening to back in the 90s because of my friend always listening to it. So there's a lot of memories that came back to it. With the Chronic, I've probably only listened to the Chronic, I don't know, 4 or 5 times in total, probably. And that was 10 years ago, maybe. It's been a long time. It's been a while. There's songs, of course, that I know, you know, Nothing But a G Thing, baby. Anyway, I'm getting all kind of off course, but listening to Midnight Marauders and knowing where it was inspired from, like that little cycle of influence between Dr. Dre and Tribe, it makes me want to check out the Chronic again. It'd be fun to do. We'll see what happens. Okay, well, I think that's it. Fantastic album. Love it. Absolutely love it. Friday I will record, unless I'm just super sick. But even if I'm super sick, I'll just do, you know, a couple lines of coke just to get the energy up. No, just one line. I'm kidding. I plan on recording tomorrow. And then with the following week being Thanksgiving, I've mapped out my schedule such that everything should just happen the way it normally does. I think what I am going to do is patrons, you wonderful supporters, I think you'll get the video on Thursday, the video and the MP3 on Thursday, so that if you're traveling, you can listen to it if you want to travel, or if you want to listen to it while you're traveling. And then I'll have the edited version for YouTube post on Friday like normal. That's all next week's plan. Tomorrow, or yeah, what's today? Today's Thursday. Tomorrow, normal timeline in terms of videos. And no, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say what I'm listening to. I think Discord knows what I'm listening to. If they're paying attention, they know. Anyway. All right, y'all. Take care. We'll see you soon.